Well, that's right. It's the best machine the BBC have. And it's the most reliable but expensive and sophisticated machinery in the technological world. Bollocks!
Colonel Shepard.
Go ahead.
We found him, sir.
What's your location?
We're halfway up the ridge that runs south of the camp. He must have been trying to climb down and lost his footing.
Are you saying he's injured?
No, sir. He's dead.
I prepared the injections for this morning's first group.
On you go. You'll be fine, Merrick. I've seen you do it a dozen times. Besides, I've got work to do here.
You're going to examine the body?
Well, the cause of death is quite obvious. His neck was broken. But there are some tests I can perform that could help with my research. At least that way something good might come of this.
We've all logged more than a few miles these past few weeks. I'd just like to say that seeing you now, sitting across from me, looking at your faces, it makes me feel very...
You don't have to say it.
We feel the same way you do.
Oh, she feels hungry too?
Taylor, I understand navigating the hive ship wasn't a particularly pleasant experience.
The neural interface was quite exhausting.
And that was just flying in a straight line. I mean, she'll never be able to pull off anything complex like combat maneuverability, weapons control.
How many maneuvers can you pull off with your manual interface?
Well, does standing still count as a maneuver?
No.
Sorry I'm late. My interviews are running a little longer than expected.
And you are?
Richard Woolsey. He is chief liaison to the international committee that oversees the Atlantis expedition. He will be conducting individual interviews with each of you.
As well as observing all senior staff meetings.
Right.
So, what did I miss?
Rodney was about to run down all the progress he's made adapting the hive controls.
Excellent. Please continue. Thanks.
Dr. Beckett, this is Lieutenant Morrison. What's your location?
I'm out on the ridge where Layton's body was found.
Don't mind my asking, Doc. What are you doing out there?
I want to check on something. I think we may have a problem.
What kind of problem?
I was so caught up running tests on Layton's tissues for my research, I almost didn't notice.
Notice what?
There isn't enough blood on the ground, which indicates that his heart wasn't pumping when he fell. Now, he definitely died when his neck was snapped, but I'm beginning to think the rest of his injuries occurred post-mortem, presumably to make it look like an accident.
Look, it's gonna be dark soon. You'd better start back now and we'll talk about it when you get here.
Right.
It would appear from this incident that the lies you're telling these people are beginning to wear a bit thin.
One adverse reaction out of 200.
Do you seriously hold out much hope for the long-term success of this little science project?
That's not what this is.
You may have never set out to create this community, but you did create it.
We did what we had to do in order to survive.
I'm sure it seemed like a good idea at the time. But even if Dr. Beckett comes up with what appears to be a long-term solution, would we ever trust them enough to integrate them into any society of humans?
Probably not.
Which brings me back to my original question.
What do you want me to say? I supported Elizabeth's decision to form an alliance with Michael, and I supported her decision to put all those people on the planet.
That support hardly shines through when you hesitate to call them people.
Just out of political curiosity, how much trouble is it going to cause you if I knock this Woolsey guy in the head?
May I ask why you'd like to do that?
It's just an impulse I had, really, one I suspect I'm going to have again next time I see him. You may not even have to say anything.
I've never seen you like this. What did Woolsey say to you?
Besides judging every damn decision you've ever made?
John Shepard, are you defending my honor?
And judging me for agreeing with you.
Well, don't be too hard on him. I think of all the circling wolves, he's the least likely to actually bite. In fact, he might even convince the others to leave us alone.
All right, so, no head knocking.
It's the thought that counts.
This is Dr. Beckett. Come in. Harrison.
I'm afraid the lieutenant and his men are indisposed.
Michael, listen to me. You're sick. You need to take your medication now.
It's too late for that, Doctor. I've regained enough memory to know that you've done this to me not once, but twice. You witnessed how hurt, how betrayed I felt the first time. Well, try to imagine how I feel now.
Why'd you have to kill Lathan?
He was stirring up trouble, but I knew our only chance was to wait until Colonel Shepard left with the soldiers. Most of them, anyway.
But with the ship gone, what's the point? You've got no hope of escape.
That's where you're wrong.
What have we got, Rodney?
Long-range sensors just picked up a hive ship.
Coming this way?
No. Wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense.
What?
On its current course, it's headed straight for the planet where we left Beckett and the prisoners. There is no reason for the Wraith to be interested in that planet. It doesn't have a Stargate, and there's no indication that it ever supported a human population. It is completely off the grid.
I think we have to consider the possibility that we have a leak.
You mean a spy?
Not necessarily in the city itself. Without ruling anything out, I would begin by focusing on our contacts within the various indigenous populations, including...
If you believe any Athosians...
Let's not jump to any conclusions here.
Isn't it true that there are humans in this galaxy who serve the Wraith, even worship them? How hard would it be for them to infiltrate one of our allied groups?
Mr. Woolsey, do you think we post this kind of information on the city bulletin board?
If the Wraith had that level of inside information, they'd be on their way to Atlantis. That's some nameless planet with a couple hundred people on it.
For the time being, we need to focus on getting those people out of there. Because if the Wraith find them and figure out what they are...
We've got a problem. Again.
How much time do we have?
2 days. Well, we could, well, you could beat them there in the Daedalus.
The hyperdrive is still offline. Hermiad needs at least another 24 hours.
We should light a fire under his bony little...
That still might not be quite good enough.
If we leave right now in the hive ship?
We'd be cutting it close.
What are our chances of surviving a ship-to-ship encounter?
If I can get the manual interface working, I'd say less than slim.
Do what you can on the way.
How many have reverted?